Hello job seekers, Melanie here with CGL Recruiting, and today we're going to be talking about the About section of your LinkedIn profile. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that now. Give me that thumbs up if you feel like this data is helpful. And as always, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other places where you will find us, where we try to give you more and more great job tips. Okay, let's talk about this About section. So we've already done a couple videos on this, but what I've had a lot of requests from you is to get a more structured approach as to what should and should not be on the About section of your LinkedIn profile. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So when we're talking about the About section on your profile, it is one of the most versatile sections that you have. And the reason for that is behind the scenes on LinkedIn Recruiter, there are lots of different search filters that, in addition to pulling up data from other parts of your profile, they always seem to go back and default pull also from your About section. So things like the job title doesn't just pull from the job title down under experience, it also pulls from the About section. So does keywords. So there's lots of skills and other things that will pull from that About section. Now you have 2,000 characters that you can put in that About section, and that is a lot. So I know that's hard to visualize. How many is 2,000 characters? It doesn't sound like a lot. So here's kind of to give you an understanding of what that is. If you take one letter on a Microsoft Word document and just put one line of letters, that's about 53 characters for that one line. So that means you have over 37 lines of straight text that you can put in this About section. That is a lot of data. Now, there are very few people that I know of that have actually maxed it out. If you are one of those, good for you. Put a comment down below so we can take a look at your About section. But for the rest of you, there is probably lots and lots of room that you can add data into that About section. Now, I know a lot of people like to play with the About section, and this is where they bold and do other things using Unicode. Be very careful before you do that, because remember, Unicode is not keyword searchable. If you're interested in doing that in the About section, please watch the video that we did that talks about bolding and changing the font on LinkedIn, because it is important for you and your job search. Okay, so now that you know you have all of this space on your About section, let's walk through the areas that I think you should focus on in this section. So with all information on LinkedIn, the system truncates your data. So you may have 2,000 characters in your About section, but LinkedIn's not going to show it all when somebody first goes into your profile. And that's true whether you're looking on regular LinkedIn or on LinkedIn Recruiter. So it's that top section that you have to actually catch someone's attention in order for them to click that See More on your About section to move on. So the first section of your About should be focused on telling your story. Who are you? What are you looking for? This, consider, is like the summary of your resume. This is where you put that data. I am an HR professional with 25 years experience in human resources. I began my career in HR, having found my passion for it in college. Whatever it is, you want to tell a little bit of a story there. And we do have a video that talks about doing a story in your About section where we did an interview with Mark. It was wonderful. So you should go check out that video. But you want to somehow give a story that makes somebody click that See More, so that they look through the rest of your About section. So once you have that story, let's talk about where we go from there. So we're trying to hook that person in. We've given them our story. The next thing that you should be focused on is key accomplishments. This is a great place for you to put some bulleted statements that says, here are the key accomplishments that I have been able to do during my career history. Now, you don't want to put 1,000 of them, but you do want to put maybe 4, maybe 5, depending on how many you have. Make sure there's metrics in there. Make sure they have a beginning, a middle, and an end with outcomes. So we've got our story or our summary. We have our accomplishments. What's the next section? I recommend areas of expertise. And this is where you can focus in on some of the things to highlight that you're really, really good at. Now remember, this is a keyword searchable section. So every time you're entering in your areas of expertise, it automatically becomes keywords, which will help you come up in more searches. So when you're focusing on these areas of expertise, the next section after that I think you should do is technical skills. And this is any type of hardware or software that you have that you want to make sure that you're listing. Programming languages. We all know those are things that are utilized a lot in searches by companies. So this is a great place for you to list all of those out, including ones that you may not have actually used in a job yet, but you've already done some type of certification on or training on. Great place for you to put that. All right, so the next section that I think this is one of the ones that's missed the most on LinkedIn is the next section under that same area should be industries. And I recommend you do two things here. One, you want to put industries I have experience in and list the industries you have experience in, and then industries I am open to and list additional industries you're open to. Now, why should you be putting industry here? Remember, LinkedIn does have an industry search filter. However, it only lets you choose one industry. And so it does not represent all of the industry experience you have. Hiring managers, HR recruiters, we know this. So we use keyword industry searches. So if you list those industries in this about section, bingo, you come up in my search because they show up when I put them as a keyword search. So there is one other thing that I do recommend you consider putting underneath that about section. Now there are different schools of thought of this, and this truly is dependent on you as to how comfortable you are with this. LinkedIn does have a place for contact data, and you can put your contact data in there and decide how open you want to be with that. You also can choose, a lot of people do, to put contact data in your about section. Now, this used to be something that LinkedIn specifically said they don't want you to do, and I even heard that they would, adjust and take out, but I don't see that occurring anymore. If any of you have experienced more than me with that, let me know, and we can even go off and test it if you wanted. But I know a lot of people now are utilizing that area for their contact data. You got to be cautious, because if you put your email address out there, anybody can get it, right? Anybody can spam your email, anything. So decide if you'd rather have your contact data at the top only, or if you want to have your contact data out there and open for everybody to see. So those are my top things that I do believe should be in each and every job seeker's about section. Now, there are, of course, always additional things you may want to include, like if you're open to relocation anywhere, you could put something like that. But remember, we do have the open to work that does show that. So it's okay to personalize and make it some. And I know 2,000 characters is a lot. What I don't recommend is don't sacrifice data that's going to get you a job with personal things that are not. So if you like to take long walks and read, that's great, but this may not be the best place to put it if you have to sacrifice other data. All right, job seekers, I hope this information was helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I like to hear from all of you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.